Speech number 2, keyword outline, is just phrases and statistics. So it kind of looks like a lot. According to the National Cancer Institute, the fatality toll for 2025 is projected to be around 600,000 people. And it is the leading cause of death for individuals under 65. And that's all cancers. While those are some pretty grim statistics, on the bright side, since 1975, fatality tolls per 100,000 people in the United States has been decreasing for individuals under 65 and then 65 and older. And so that's a testament to the improvements in medicine and science. However, there is a new field of study that's being explored in order to better treat cancer and to further push those numbers down. And that is microRNA, which has been linked to having tumor suppressive properties, which isn't a permanent fix, but it creates a buffer in time for individuals to be able to receive treatment or to be able to find donors who can provide them with bone marrow, stem cells, blood, that sort of thing. And so microRNA is not a new concept. It was initially researched in 1993. However, the research into its cancer suppressive properties started in kind of 2010, 2015, so it's been going on for a decade and a half. And so, according to an article published in 2010 by the National Library of Medicine, microRNA only impacts 3% of gene coding. However, it has an impact on 30% of protein coding, which proportionally speaking is quite a lot. So microRNA can act as an oncogene and a tumor suppressor. And so an oncogene essentially promotes cell growth, and with a poor mutation, it can create a negative impact, right? So something like a cancerous cell would have mutated oncogenes because these cells don't have a natural process of dying and recycling. So it is just an explosion of new cell growth. But then on the flip side, microRNA can also be a tumor suppressor and encourage cell apoptosis, which is that natural cell death process. But it is sort of codependent on the gene that codes that microRNA as well as the cells that it interacts with. And so because of the dual effects, there definitely has to be some new research. However, right, there has been therapeutic promise on the horizon, which is why people are still pursuing it. I mean, for example, they're even conducting research on it at Texas A&M, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So microRNA, the reason why there's been research done into it is because there's been initial correlation or findings that show that there are different levels and ratios of it in normal versus cancerous tissue. So the moment scientists, research, medical professionals found that out, immediately it piqued interest within the medical community and required a little bit more research. So kind of an example for its tumor suppressive properties is microRNA 124 in correlation to colorectal cancer. So as I mentioned before, it encourages that apoptosis and also encourages that cell life cycle to continue and not become a medical issue. And so microRNA is the one 15 that is being studied at Texas A&M currently in the muscle biology laboratory at the Gibbs-Gilchrist building, headed by Dr. Flucky. So it was super interesting for me to learn about. And it kind of brings me to my final point. So yes, it is a recent field to be studying microRNA and its correlation to cancer. And so kind of delving into that a little bit more, Dr. Flucky talked about how during exercise, microRNA 15 is excreted and has been shown to have cell growth suppressive properties just based off the way that it links to gene coding and proteins and that sort of thing. It suppresses that cell growth and maintains that apoptosis-like process to ensure that there is a good balance. And according to a biomed Med Center article released in actually 2025, they talk about microRNA 21 as a biomarker. And so microRNA isn't just being limited to cancer suppressant and treatment, but it can also create biomarkers that could potentially be more accurate than just protein arrays in terms of identifying cancer and other illnesses. Furthermore, they're looking into, I'm talking about Dr. Flecky and his team are looking into ways of taking that microRNA 15, putting it into a benign human papillomavirus, and being able to program it to target cancerous cells so that when they inject it into a patient, it's not going to impact other cells or processes that may elicit a immunoresponse, which would not be good for the patient. And so that's one of the challenges that's on the horizon right now, is identifying and being able to kind of catalog these microRNA and show these are present with cancer cells and cancer growth, these are present for cancer suppression, and also further research needs to be done into synthesizing microRNA to be able to be used on a national global scale for patients, and also being able to control it in a way to where it doesn't impact the immune system in a negative manner. And so microRNA is, in conclusion, super crucial in gene regulation, whether it's for cell growth or cell death and the maintenance of a proper balance within the human body. There's a lot of new horizons that have yet to be explored and need to be explored if we want to pursue this avenue, because that buffer of time that you give an individual, however long it may be, like 1 month to a year, depending on how potent this treatment is, can give cutting-edge cancer researchers time to be able to fully develop and get their treatments approved to then start saving lives. Thank you.